Hey guys and gals, I got another one for you today. This is a pretty interesting battle, and I want to feature it. Platooned up with Hoops. I'm in my Panzer 7, he's in his Super Conqueror. We're on Live Oaks, standard battle. There's mostly tier 10s and some 9s. We got 2 tier 8s, they have 1, which isn't a big deal. Nothing out of the ordinary. Unfortunately, you're going to have to bear with me. Just a little technologically unadvanced, working on it. I said once I get 20 viewers or followers that I would start working on getting better uploads rather than just recording my TV. And I'm at 18, which is pretty close. So we're gonna get a laptop. I'm gonna see if I can sync it into the Xbox and then just run replays like that. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to figure out, get a USB stick and do it that way. Not 100% sure, but I'll figure it out. Put in the work. Alright, so Live Oaks, we like to run the bottom railroad tracks, whatever you want to call it, or dip or die. So enemy team has 2 Pattons. We have a tier 9 Patton with us. And those are 2 tier 10 Pattons. So it's me, Hoops, the tier 9 Patton. We also have a tier 9 Wizard 111-14 with us. We have a tier 8 T69 and a tier 9 E50, which is already at half health. So we don't have much help here. And even though we might have some numbers, our tanks are not that strong, let alone our tier 9 Patton, our E50 are already hurt. So what else do they have? They have a 13-105, they have a Yagru, and they have an E3 here. And we're not going to push on an E3 and a Yagru. They also have an Object 705. So they have 4 tier 10s, a tier 9. I'm sorry, 5 tier 10s if you count the Scout. And a tier 9 heavy tank. Our mediums have gone out wide, which is great, because then they can't really push on us without taking shots in the side. I call for help, hoping that Artie will look this way and start shooting these tank destroyers. You see the tank destroyers are taking shots in the side. Our T69 dies. And though I'd love to try to help the medium tank on our right, if I look away from these 2 tank destroyers, I feel like they'll just come over the ridge. Hoops tries to get a shot into the E3. I think the Patton shoots him. Now this 705 is just making a play on me. So I bounce his shot, get a shot into his side, and as soon as I shoot my gun, these 2 are over. So I bounce the E3 shell. The Jaeger's taking his time. And he gets a shot in me. I think he just shoots my cheek. I'm not sure where that shot went in. Alright, so Hoops takes down the 705. He's getting shot in the side. I don't have a real good shot on the Yagru, so I should take a shot into the E3. Our Batshak kills a 48 Patton. Now I'm aiming at his top cap, which is kind of a risky play there. But I felt like he wasn't wiggling, and we need to take down one or the other, and he's a 2-shot for us. So I do land that shot. Hoop shuts him down, and then I'm going to shoot through his drive wheel into his lower plate, and you can do that on E3 or E4 because they have that boat hull. Bounce him again. Our medium tank is dead now, so we have a medium pushing on us. Somehow we survived that. And now that Patton came over to shoot The Patton did pen me once, but after Hoops hit him, he needed one more shot, so I shut him down. And then I get my tank turnaround just in time to block another E3 shell. There I moved in front of Hoops and didn't get the shot in him. I was just about reloaded for the E3, but my shot was definitely no guarantee. So great that the Wizard 111-14 shuts him down. And really all we got left over here is the 13-105. But then I look up and we're losing by one tank. So we've lost tier 10, 5 tier 10s on the other flank, which is, it's just baffling to me, since majority of their tier 10s were over here. Didn't have much time to watch how the game developed, which is why I wanted to watch the replay. And after watching it, it really kind of irked me the way the team played it. And I feel like I can use that as a learning tool. Now, in this situation, I told Hoops that we should try to stick together. If they're going to cap, they're going to cap. But this 1-4 was with me, and all of a sudden they have a 140 in the swamp, and he gets a shot on my Wizard 111-14, lights him on fire, and shuts him down. So now I'm kind of a sitting duck without any help right here. And our scout is going to kill Artie. Hoops is going to back him up, cover him to make sure that can get done. Totally whiffed that shot on the T-49. T-49 hits me with a derp shell. T-49 is, I'm not worried about him at all. This bat shot, however, runs into a dead tank, allows me to get a shot into him, but I just couldn't back up the hill fast enough. The 140 got a shell into me. So now we're on to Hoops. As the T-49 comes over, Hoops shoots into his drive wheel. He was hoping for a tracking shot. Unfortunately, he doesn't track the T-49. He tries to swing around. I told him not to worry about the T-49. The bat chat was coming. Unfortunately, it's just too little, too late. The mobile tanks, we're just not going to be able to stop them. All right. So this, you can only back up 30 seconds at a time, so bear with me as I get back to the beginning. What I'm going to do now is watch how the other side progressed and how it managed their side of the map, especially since I felt like we were outclassed on our half of the map, and they really shouldn't have fell apart the way it did over there. And I'd like to say this, you can apply this to any map, but really you need to have good map knowledge to really be able to apply it. On this map, there's definitely, to me, you know, like the southern spawn, you can get to either flag without being in the wide open. There's cover to get you from one flag to the other. And that's really, when I look at maps, that's what I try to figure out, like, what side can I win, control, and then be able to affect either's flag, whereas there's the other half of the map is generally, I call the flank, or maybe the secondary choke, where you know, other people might think that's a more powerful part of the map. However, in my opinion, it can't freely get to both flags, so you can set up areas of opportunity to take apart their team as they cross the field to get towards the flags. Alright, so now we're back at the beginning. Trying to figure out who we should watch here. Alright, so I'm going to just keep an eye on this Patton, and I'm just going to talk about how this side of the map progresses. Alright, so the scouts do a good job. They're coming up to the middle of the spot, And really, in the north, a lot of the tanks will sit in C6 because there's a ridge there with bushes on it, and they can get sniping shots out. So it's nice that the scouts are going to spot. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tier 10s, 2 tier 9s, and a tier 8 on this flank. Now this Patton is already pushed too far over. He's spotted by the scout, which means that everything in C6 can see him. He recognizes that, he gets his track on, and then he pushes forward up to this building. Now, to me, either you get in the city or you defend from the E line. There's no point in being forward from the E line because you're going to get put in a crossfire from the field and from the city. So them sitting here, like this Patton sitting here, is really not beneficial to anybody. You can see he's getting shot from this stubby, as well as he's trying to get shots in the E5. If he can see the E5, that means other tanks can see him on the side. Now he's ammo racked by an Object 140. And you can see he's pretty well surrounded at this point. Maybe he thought the rest of his team was going to push up with him, but sitting in this field is never a good idea. You can see now somebody's joined him, which is even worse. Like, we got both of our Pattons sitting in a crossfire in the middle of a field. Alright, so now the K91 decides that he wants to push up into the field. And the K91 is actually going to make a play on the city. And that might make a little sense, knowing that the field is no good. However, to push into the city by yourself this late, it's really not going to be beneficial to the team either. You're going to isolate yourself, and you're going to get killed. The medium tanks and the scout tanks, if they're up here, usually will pounce on anything that's isolated to try to take it out. And you can see they start to creep in. A couple mediums and a scout are coming across the A line right towards that K91. So good players recognize those things, and they will quickly shut it down. Now, our other Patton has taken a decent location in the ditch right out of the city. However, they're all locked down and they're all isolated. To me, if you don't take the city right away, you just have to give up the city. But that's fine because the E line gives you cover. There's hills there. You can get hulled down. If you need to, you can do 2 layers of defense. You can put a couple tanks on the E line. You can put tanks in the G line where there's a ditch. And then you essentially can just get scouts to run the 3 line and get spotting out for your guys. However, these guys made a half-ass push into the city, and now they're paying for it. We're purging their hit points and losing teammates at a quick succession here. And there's just no way to effectively use your armor when you're in a field. So our tank advantage up here definitely fell apart quickly. You see their MKR took down their Patton. And it's not like he was in a OP position. He was just in a position where once these guys in the field got isolated and pushed out of position, that he would just take advantage. The Super Conqueror was trying to cover him, but you can see it wasn't... he took way too much risk. I mean, had he been behind this mountain being hauled down, he wouldn't have been destroyed so quickly, but since he had to overextend himself to try to help out medium tanks, that ended up getting him killed. And now you can see, you can kind of see how the map is developed. So I mean, it comes back down to us versus them. They have just more mobility, and then we don't set up the greatest defense with the Wizard 111-1-4. He should have been under the bridge. I should have stayed up top with Hoops, and we should have just stayed in this little pocket and tried to defend the base from there. Or not defend the base, I'm sorry, just defend the game from there. Give up the cap if need be, but to separate ourselves was the biggest error. So it goes from just really sweet defense that I feel we should have lost to overcoming that, winning, making a few errors in the end, and their good players took advantage of that. So really, the biggest thing why I want to show this is like how games break down. And though this is only one map, when you watch replays, you'll see a lot of this stuff happen. So like, if you're not going to take a certain point on the map, you have to be ready to defend it. So in my opinion, we won the choke. The secondary choke was lost because they didn't set up a defense, and then they got overrun. That's really all I got for you guys. Actually, you know what? Let me get to endgame stats. I forgot about that. So just my experience, I know when I look at the endgame stats that my northern teammates probably didn't do too much, especially with how much health all the tanks had that were coming in on us. None of them were even touched. And that's, watching the replay, it shows. I mean, they couldn't get shots out. They pretty much had to just hide and wait for them to get surrounded before they died. So what they did was bought us some time by hiding really well, but they didn't get any damage out for us, so it made it pretty impossible to win at the end. So the LTTB that spotted right away and then came back to help us out, took second with 1,800 damage and 1 kill. Hoops did 4K with 2 kills. I had 3,200 with 2 kills. Also blocked 5K damage. Hoops blocked 1,000 damage. Our Wizard 111-1-4, I mean, even was not that great with 1,000 damage, 1 kill. Super Conk that was defending the mediums only got 1,300 damage and managed 2 kills. The 2 Pattons that were hiding in the north, one managed 1,100, the other 400. Centurion that was up there with them did 700 damage. Our Yag Tiger that was up there with them did 1,400. Artie, I don't know if he was just out of position. I think he was looking at the city for the first third of the battle, and then he finally decided to try to help us out. T69 that was trying to snipe for us did 467 damage. The K91 that went north did 500 damage. So just a lot of non-contributors, but definitely I think that could have been easily won had they just set up a defense. Once we win our choke, we just come back, give them a little extra support, shot in the arm, because usually what will happen is the red team will come through the swamp and start to flank the 1-2-3 line if you have a defense there. However, once we win the choke and we start coming back towards our base, then we have free shots right in the side of them, and that game is won pretty easily after that. Props to them. They use their mobility as an advantage on a flank that you really don't see too often won with mobility. Their Batshat 3,500, 2 kills. T49 did 1,300, 3 kills. 13-105 that was down by us did 28, 3 kills, and he was just picking off our medium tanks when they weren't paying attention. IS-7, I'm not sure, he must have been in city, 2,200 damage, 3 kills. Object 140 started in the north, ended in the swamp, 2K damage, 2 kills. The Patton with 3,500. You see there's just so much more contribution from their team that made a bigger impact. So what can we learn from this? I mean, to be honest, it's map awareness and really knowing how hard your team is pushing, what points on the map are important, And if you're not going to take them, where can you set up a defense to take advantage of them once they get through it? Once they have to drive out of the city, they're in that open field that our Pattons are in. I'll quit blabbing. That's really all I got for you guys. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.